Enter the webinar panelist numeric.
I'm Calvin. Good evening, everyone. I'm Calvin Ball, your Howard County Executive. This is our first residence budget hearing for FY 2027. I want to thank everyone who has sent in testimony and who is going to be testifying tonight and sharing your thoughts, your hopes, your dreams, your challenges, your concerns. These are all things that my team and I will take into consideration as we formulate this upcoming budget. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Suffa here.
Good evening. Before we begin hearing from you, we have a few logistical items to go through. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed. If you are unable to ensure that every voice is considered during the budget process. All testimony, written and oral, is considered by our team. Please send any written testimony to budgettestimony@howardcountymd.gov. Each person will have up to 3 minutes to testify, and those who represent an organization will have up to 5 minutes. Only one person from each organization will receive 5 minutes to testify. You will be called based upon the order of your registration. Everyone is currently muted to avoid background noises. When it is your turn to testify, your name will be called and you will receive a notification to unmute yourself. If you are having any difficulty, please send a note in the chat and our tech team will do their best to assist. In addition, to ensure you are registered and any questions about the order, please send a note on the chat and our tech team will assist. All testimony will be audio only to minimize broadband issues and to ensure we can hear you clearly. Per tradition, we will begin our hearing tonight with the youngest among us, our students. First up, we have Violet Scarfo, followed by David Wu. Violet, are you with us? Okay, next up we'll hear from David Wu, followed by Jarina Fuckham.
I don't see Jarina either.
Okay, next we'll hear from Natalie DeFrancesco, followed by Sophia Monroe.
No.
Okay, we'll go straight into our testimony. So we'll first hear from Councilwoman Deb Young, followed by Superintendent William Barnes.
Barnes is here.
Okay, we will circle back to Councilwoman Young and go to Superintendent Barnes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right. Well, good evening, County Executive Dr. Ball, members of your hardworking staff. My name is Bill Barnes. I'm the proud superintendent of the Howard County Public School System. I appreciate the opportunity provided by County Executive Ball to set the foundation for the beginning of what will once again be a challenging budget season across the state and across the county. Unfortunately, the realities for our state and county have not changed, and our state leaders are grappling with a budget deficit of nearly $1.5 billion. Our county leaders are grappling with the trickle-down effect of that deficit, working collaboratively with our team to determine how to make the best of the limited funds available so that we can make a sizable impact in our schools, our libraries, for our first responders, and the many other county services. And just as our fiscal realities remain unchanged at the state and county level, so are unchanged the needs of our students and families. They will look very similar to the needs from last year. Our systemic areas of concentration are unchanged and include the following. The number of students qualifying for special education services continues to escalate, and our staffing and resources have not kept pace. Multilingual families are choosing Howard County as their home at a far greater rate than the state's average. But as a school system, this requires enhanced staffing, resources, training, and dedicated attention. Our students, families, and school-based staff continue their calls for learning environments that are safer and healthier for all. Staffing levels, employee compensation, and other benefits must keep pace so that we can recruit the best to Howard County and retain them for their entire career. And the tremendous levels of growth in Howard County over several decades is resulting in a snowball effect of building maintenance needs. To be sure, thanks to continued above maintenance of effort funding for our schools, we have made gains in each of these areas. And I believe that the Howard County Public School System is an ocean liner that is sailing in the right direction. But our priorities remain our priorities, and our challenges remain our challenges. They do not dramatically change from year to year, and we recognize and appreciate the partnership because it's impossible to make immediate levels of improvement in just one budget cycle. While our total enrollment is anticipated to decrease slightly by less than 0.5%, the needs I just detailed are increasing at a steady pace. On January 8th, I'll present my proposed fiscal year 2027 operating budget to the Howard County Board of Education and detail those and other needs that must be met to become a great school system, great because we are great for every one of our students and staff we serve. I look forward to our continued partnership I've enjoyed with the county executive, the county council, and the Board of Education during my time as superintendent. One of the very best things about being the superintendent in this county is that I never have to fight to convince any of our elected leaders, and especially Dr. Ball, that an investment in education is a good investment. In the months ahead, I look forward to working collaboratively with you to find the bridge and to build the bridge from our current realities to the very real needs of our students and educators. Thank you, and I wish each and every one of you and those you serve a restful, healthy, and joyful holiday season and Happy New Year.
Well, thank you, Mr. Superintendent, for your strength, your compassion, and all that you do for our students, our educators, and our school system families.
Thank you.
Next up, we'll hear from Julianne Dana, followed by Tonya Akins.
I don't see Julianne Dana, but Tonya Akins is here.
Okay, next up, we'll hear from Tonya Akins, followed by Nicholas Berry.
Let's unmute his consent.
Good evening, Dr. Ball, Ms. Gans, and Dr. Sun. I am Tonya Akins, President and CEO of Howard County Library System. Thank you for your longtime support and for the opportunity to testify on behalf of Howard County's residents who value opportunities to learn, grow, and connect at the library. Since your December budget hearing last year, the economic landscape has shifted dramatically. Demands are greater while resources are fewer. Libraries feel this keenly as we serve people across our community, from preschoolers to teens to adults, including immigrants and current and former federal workers, contractors, and others affected by federal actions. One of the key areas of our strategic plan is to ensure that all children enter school ready to learn. Emily, a team member at the Elkridge branch, shared this story. A mom who participated in the hatchlings class with her newborn found me to check in about her son. They have been attending classes weekly and they've experienced some health scares with their son. Today, she emphasized what a special support the hatchlings class was, especially because
This
of a
webinar
friendship.
is being recorded and summarized.
Especially because of a friendship with another mom and son in the class. The two families have been getting together every week. The two toddlers are besties, and the moms are now close friends who support each other emotionally. The mom emphasized that building community like this has been very important to her and that they never would have met each other if it weren't for the hatchlings class. While children like this mom's son and his new bestie are learning Maryland's domains of development and learning in library classes, their parents are building community. We hear time and again how isolating it can be as a new parent and how library classes offer opportunities for people to connect with one another, forming lasting friendships. Teens also often feel isolated as they navigate the challenges of their middle and high school years. Eben, another team member at the Elkridge branch, shared this story about a themed augmented reality scavenger hunt he created. It's hugely popular with middle schoolers that I work with, and I had already been experimenting with 3D design and AR tools for future teen programs. A few days after launching the activity, I received a call that a family had driven 45 minutes specifically to play it. When I walked out to the front to give the student their prize, the mother immediately said, "We came here just for this. I didn't know the library did things like this, things that teens are actually interested in. I've never seen anything like this at a library before." She told me how grateful she was that our library has a dedicated teen department creating programs that reflect real teen interests. She said that because of this experience, they plan to visit more often. Moments like this reinforce how powerful teen interest innovative programming can be. When teens see their interests reflected in the library, they feel welcome, understood, and eager to return, and their families notice that impact too. This story illustrates the importance of our second key area of our strategic plan. Teens and young adults feel a sense of agency and belonging. The third key area in our plan is to create an inclusive, connected community where everyone feels they belong. Our team has shared numerous stories about how this occurs in our branches, but I'll share one from team member Peg at our Miller branch, from a parent of a Beyond Words participant. Thanks for this wonderful program where this community can get together to do activities together with others who have disabilities like them. After this community graduates from public school, they often have nowhere to go during the day other than walking in the park, shopping, or going to the library. But they don't always see others like them to stay in touch and do activities with. Our adult daughter is so excited on the days her support staff can take her to Beyond Words at the library. This program is a much needed in this community to fill this huge gap. Our talented and dedicated team makes these type of experiences possible because they care deeply about our community. Last year, our employees exercised their right to unionize, and our first ever collective bargaining agreement was ratified in May of this year. That agreement includes a 4% COLA and 3% step increase, which is included in our budget request for all team members. Our request also includes an increase in funds for our collection and classes to address increased demand, user wait times, and increased costs, along with a request for professional development for our team. Our overall budget includes a line for library-generated revenue, comprised primarily of money raised by serving as a passport acceptance facility at our East Columbia and Glenwood branches. Our East Columbia branch is the busiest non-post office passport acceptance facility on the East Coast, and we've consistently received glowing reviews. We've updated your office that we were notified by the U.S. State Department that our service is currently under review. Some libraries in Pennsylvania and other states have already had their ability to process passports revoked. Should that happen to us, we stand to lose $800,000 in projected revenue. We've included this in our budget request. We know you have tough decisions to make, and libraries literally stand ready to serve everyone in our community. I respectfully ask that you invest in our community and fully fund the Board of Trustees budget request. Thank you so much for your consideration, and happy holidays to all.
Well, thank you for your partnership and the important reminder of how important our libraries are to the educational foundation for our residents of all ages and abilities.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Nicholas Berry, followed by Greg Shuckman, James Fraser, and Linfeng Chen.
Good evening, Dr. Ball and budget team. My name is Nicholas Berry. I'm a social studies teacher at Oakland Mills High School and the 2021 Howard County Teacher of the Year. Today, I want to use my time to advocate for a larger budget for the Howard County Public School System. I attended HCPSS for 12 years, and I've taught at Oakland Mills High School for the past 12 years. I'm a product of a top-notch Howard County education. However, I don't feel my students have been receiving the same level of educational excellence that I did. Not due to a lack of effort on my part or that of my fellow educators, but because of a county budget which has doubled in size without directing a commensurate amount of funds to our school system. Over the last 15 years since I graduated from Centennial High School, the county's general fund revenue has increased by 98%, but the amount allocated to HCPSS has only increased by 75%. This means our school system is being asked to still deliver the same world-class education that I received with less money to do so. We've been begging for the county to increase our funding, but even when a nearly $40 million surplus is found, Dr. Ball has refused to allocate a single penny to help our schools. So I want to speak about what the decision to underfund our schools looks like where I teach, Oakland Mills. This year, we have over 100 multilingual learners, some of whom have lived in the U.S. for most of their lives, some of whom are recent arrivals who speak little to no English. Even though this population has grown tremendously since I started teaching, this year we have one fewer English language teacher and one fewer paraeducator because the school system decided to cut positions to fill our budget shortfall. My co-teacher has to choose every day whether to help the multilingual learners in my 9th grade U.S. history class or down the hall in a 12th grade English classroom because she can't be in two places at once, and both groups desperately need her support. We know this isn't the best way to teach, but we have no other choice. Countless other cuts to staff and services have been done that negatively affect our students and our ability to give them a great education, and more cuts are on the horizon. Our county wants to build a $100 million library while its school system cuts media specialists and the staff that teaches children to read in English. What are we doing? Years of underfunding has left Oakland Mills High School in a degraded state, desperately in need of renovations. Our school was promised these would begin in 2027 until we were suddenly removed from this year's budget with little warning. We've been organizing to persuade the board to recall their vote and restore our renovations. And students even organized a walkout to plead for the renovations they know will never be completed until after they graduate. The line we've heard from some board members is, well, other schools need help too. And that's why I'm here tonight, to ask the county prioritize school system funding in the FY27 budget. Rainy day funds are great, but not if you don't tap into them when burst pipes cause water and sewage to literally rain down inside our buildings. Please invest in our schools, our staff, and our students with this budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Greg Shuckman, followed by James Fraser and Dr. Linfeng Chen. Do we have Greg with us today?
Not see Greg, but I do see his Fraser.
Okay, next we'll hear from James Fraser, followed by Dr. Linfeng Chen, William Kozo, and Cindy LaFollette.
Good evening, Dr. Ball and staff. My name is Jamie Fraser. I am one of the proud co-chairs of Howard EcoWorks. EcoWorks engages and educates the community about environmental sustainability and restoration while creating pathways to green jobs through our workforce development programs. The past year saw continued support for the county through implementation of debris management efforts under the Safe and Sound Plan. Maintenance of capital stream restoration projects and bioretention facilities, continued tree planting and pollinator garden installations in urban and underserved areas, and the administration of multiple green jobs and green career exploration programs. We continued our partnership with the State Department of Labor for a green infrastructure workforce development program and the Baltimore region's Climate Corps network. In lieu of working with AmeriCorps, we partnered with the State Department of Services and Civic Innovation and are hosting 10 Maryland Corps members. We are also engaged in new partnerships with the Maryland Forest Service and Chesapeake Bay Trust to continue engaging vulnerable communities in conservation and restoration efforts, as well as in our Green Jobs training program. We are excited to have marked 1 year at Holly Hills, the 16-acre farm that we acquired in Glenwood with support from Howard County and the state of Maryland. Pardon me. Holly Hills is on its way to serving as our new centralized headquarters, a regional green jobs training center and hub for biodiversity and conservation. We've already planted nearly 300 trees at the property, engaged in and educated more than 500 community members and green job trainees, and are excited to install cisterns in the coming spring. We sincerely thank you for your past and current partnership that has enabled us to engage, educate, train, and empower the individuals and communities throughout Howard County. We respectfully request sustained support for our annual grant. In addition, we would like to request additional PAYGO funds to support capital improvements at Holly Hills. We will support that will support our ability to provide the long-term impacts that we look to achieve for a center of conservation, restoration, and green jobs training. Thank you for your consideration. And I got through the written part that I had prepared quickly. So I will summarize that as a board member, I am, very proud to be associated with EcoWorks and the good work that we do. And we are in just the best position ever. We are moving into the Holly Hills property and looking to bring on a new executive director to support Lori Lilly, who the organization is healthy, strong, and poised for growth. And we're looking for supportive management to manage the organization along with Lori. So this is a great year, and the Holly Hills property is an exciting opportunity for EcoWorks to continue, and we would very much appreciate the continued support and support for the PAYGO program.
Well, thank you very much for your testimony and your partnership.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Ball.
Next, we'll hear from Dr. Linfeng Chen, followed by William Kozo, Cindy LaFollette, and Jason Barker.
Dr. Ball and your budget team, good evening. My name is Linfeng Chen, a resident of the North Laurel and at-large member of the Board of Education. I'm here to urge the county to increase its investment in the Howard County public school system. First, I want to share some numbers. The first one is the capital budget. In 2006, the county invested $71.2 million in HCPSS. In 2026, that number is $66.7 million. Meanwhile, the cost to build a new high school has risen from about $74 million to $180 million today, 5 times more expensive. After 20 years of inflation, a growing deferred maintenance, and the aging facilities, we are investing less in our schools than we did 2 decades ago. This is not sustainable. Second, the operating budget. The HCPS as a share of the county general fund has fallen from a historic 53% to 46.2% this year. Each percent point equals about 25 million. That's more than 150 million difference. Impacts on teachers' pay, staffing position, special education, class sizes, student services, and the school safety. Howard County greatest strengths and the reason family and the business choose to be here is public education. Our schools are foundation of the opportunity, equity, and economic mobility. When we underfund them, we weaken our own entire community. Earlier this month, at the invitation of students, I visited Oakland Mill High School. Students show me the poor water quality, failing kitchen equipment, closed bathrooms, chipped walls, and broken HVAC system, and the damaged auditorium seats. Oakland Mills is not alone. Centennial High School is not anything better. Many other schools struggle with HVAC and the facility issues. A long list. Over 50,000 students and their families deserve better. I hope to see both Oakland Mill High School and Centennial High School, these two bigger projects, renovated before the end of this decade. That will be a meaningful and a lasting legacy. Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Dr. Chen.
Thank you, Dr. Ball.
Next, we'll hear from William Kozo, followed by Cindy LaFollette, Jason Barker, and Jade Chang. Mr. Kozo, can you hear us?
He's unmuted, but I'm not hearing anything.
Mr. Kozo, we cannot hear you. Our IT team's going to work with you to ensure that we can hear you. So we will circle back. Next, we'll hear from Cindy LaFollette.
Hi there, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Ball and the Budget Committee. I am a long-term resident of Howard County and also a proud Mount Hebron graduate. I'm here to state that our school system needs to remain the pride and joy of our county and our top priority. We must return to the excellence we once knew instead of continuing to capitulate to big money, out-of-state developers who state in their own reports that they seek monopoly-like control of our cities while ignoring the needs of our local community. We can't keep up with the blueprint requirements or the need for special education, and we can't even consider meeting kids where they are without the funding to do it. Media specialists can't check in all the books and teach the kids. If volunteers like me aren't able to show up, who does it? Resources are being split across 2 or more schools, and they can't invest in getting to know their students and serving the needs of communities that need them the most. Our twice exceptional students are being left behind because we don't have enough GTA and special ed teacher programs to support them. We have crumbling infrastructure that is not conducive to a healthy learning environment, while shiny new public facilities go up all around our schools. What does this say to our children about their worth when they are worth everything? HCPSS needs at least 50% of our pay-go funds designated and filtered directly to it. Downtown Columbia needs that TIF money for schools. Yes, our schools. And we need the promised ATFO fee money. We need the nearly $40 million that Mrs. Walsh's legislation found to fix long overdue issues at more than 20 of our schools, including Oakland Mills and Centennial High Schools, because one school a year isn't going to cut it, and schools fighting about who's next in line isn't going to cut it and isn't good for our community. Or, as will be unpopular with the Republican side of the table, create an additional excise tax that filters directly to Howard County Public Schools' capital needs. And some great ideas about how to structure that. So please reach out, because I'd love to talk solutions, or which they might favor, seek public-private solutions like we do for other capital projects like our Lakefront Library. Or, even better, make the big money developers pay their share. Dr. Ball, you hear your constituents asking you to fully fund our schools. And I ask you, how can we have HOCO by design when we don't have schools to support its future? We can't keep asking Howard County public school systems to solve trickle-down problems when the school system's job is to educate our children and ensure that they have the services they need to meet them where they are. So I ask you to ask yourself, as a public leader, what kind of example am I setting for our children? And I ask you to please fully fund our schools. Thank you for your time.
And thank you for your testimony.
We are going to go back to Mr. William Kozo. You should have received a request to unmute. Mr. Kozo, we can't hear you if you are talking. We have you unmuted on our end. Sir, if you're on a phone, you might want to press *6.
I'll send you call into.
If you're on a computer, you may need to check your audio set output on WebEx. If you click the little down arrow next to audio,
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Yep,
can.
we got you, Bill.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Mr. County Executive, Dr. Ball. My name is Bill Kozo, and I am here representing the Police Accountability Task Force of Howard County. We are a group of longtime Howard County residents working as unpaid volunteers to advance accountability and transparency in law enforcement activities in the county. Simply put, we want to ensure that Howard County is never the location of a tragedy where someone loses their life due to an abusive interaction with law enforcement officer. Most recently, we've been working on the issue of racial disparities in policing in Howard County, and that's the topic of my testimony tonight. In June of 2023, our group became aware of data for the year 2022 that was provided by the police department to the Police Accountability Board and reported by the PAB in an open meeting. That data revealed startling and troubling racial disparities in policing. Specifically, Black or African American individuals were dramatically overrepresented in interactions with police. Black or African American people represented around 20% of Howard County residents, but in each category of police interaction reported, they were overrepresented by at least double their proportion in the county. We initially hoped that this was somehow a terrible one-year anomaly, so we performed an analysis of the preceding 5 years of publicly available traffic stop data, where we confirmed that these numbers remain very consistent from 2017 to 2021, spanning before, during, and after the COVID pandemic. Sadly, neither the police department nor the PAB have acted publicly to identify the root causes of these disparities, nor to monitor and report on them as ongoing items of concern. In this vacuum, our group has led an effort that enjoys the support of 9 community groups cumulatively representing thousands of county residents. We filed MPIA actions requiring the HCPD to provide arrest and use of force data for both 2023 and 2024. The data we received shows that the problem remains unchanged, and in fact, the data reveals a similar disparity that has emerged for members of the Hispanic community. We request, and justice requires, for the Howard County budget to include funding for the commissioning of a study and report by an independent third-party expert on matters of police accountability, describing the reasons for these racial disparities and specific actions to be taken to eliminate them. Our estimates put the cost of this study at somewhere around $400,000. We want this study to be acquired by and to receive the fullest possible cooperation of the administration and not be administered by either the police department or the sheriff's department. We want the study's resulting final report to be made public by press release and easily available on the Howard County government website, unredacted upon delivery, and its results and recommendations described to the public in an open meeting. Finally, we want the county to adopt legislation with required implementation funding to report annually on the racial demographics of policing in a way at least as comprehensive as what is required by law in Montgomery County. Our hope is that the annual reporting will show progress towards elimination of all unwarranted disparities. The disparities revealed in this data cannot be explained away by distracting irrelevancies about HCPD's CALIA accreditation or about the number of drivers from outside the county who HCPD encounters. Racial profiling and other racialized policing strategies are not made acceptable if they are directed at non-county residents. We want Howard County to be a community where everyone can live in or travel through without fear of being racially profiled. In conclusion, we hope to see your full support for this study included as a budget line item, by executive action where possible, and in support of related legislative action. We wish you, your family, and your staff a safe, happy, and healthy holiday season, and we thank you for your time and attention tonight.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Jason Barker, followed by Jay Chang, Liz Hammond, and Rebecca Oddie.
I don't think any of those are.
Okay, none of them are with us, so we will hear from Laura Darby Singh, followed by Nicholas Redding, Wai Ying Chow, and Dana Soar.
Hey, Ted.
Hi, good evening.
It went out okay?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm glad you liked it.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. My name is Laura Darby Singh, and I want to respond directly to problems with the capital budget. Superintendent Barnes described this evening that our school system is like an ocean liner, and I do actually agree with that. I understand the intent of the metaphor, but I will say that during my earlier testimony at the Board of Education, that it does feel like an ocean liner to us parents and staff of Howard County Schools. It feels like the Titanic. There are no lifeboats on board and no emergency plan in place, and it is on purpose. The risk we are carrying as Howard County Public Schools is not accidental. It is the result of conscious choices. The Educational Facilities Master Plan documents 18 to 19 Howard County schools that are rated poor or critical each year. These ratings aren't opinions. They're based on formal inspections. We're talking about serious things that in a workplace would elicit OSHA violations, failing HVAC systems, recurring roof leaks, outdated electrical and mechanical infrastructure, overcrowded spaces, and buildings that are now more than 50 years old and whose systems have long exceeded their usable lifespan. We are not talking here about short-term deviation. We are talking about a long-term pattern of underinvestment. We as families are repeatedly told that there is no money, but the explanation doesn't align with county's actual fiscal behavior. Howard County continues to fund optional and high visibility capital projects, while our basic school infrastructure is deferred year after year. This is not an issue of a lack of resources. This is a priorities decision. Other counties in Maryland facing the very same aging building realities have already taken action. They've issued school construction bonds, created dedicated modernization funds, or front funding projects while awaiting for state reimbursement. But Howard County has not adopted any of these comparable tools, despite us having equally the fiscal capacity to do so. I want to be absolutely clear about what Howard County parents will not accept. We will not fight one another for a single renovation slot every year. We will not accept a system that forces schools to compete with one another while conditions continue to deteriorate countywide. And we will not accept solutions that rely solely on temporary transfers while the underlying crisis continues to grow. The addendum for HB 1450 recommended allotting at least 50% of the pay-go to school facilities. We support acting on that recommendation immediately, but I need everybody to understand that the addendum also made clear that pay-go alone is insufficient to address what we would all consider at this point a systemic infrastructure failure. What we as parents are demanding is an actual sustained allocation within the capital budget for school infrastructure, not just one-time fixes, not just patches, not just promises. We are also demanding that every available surplus dollar be treated as a school safety issue first until the crisis is resolved. When the county posts surpluses while schools remain in poor and critical condition, these funds should not be diverted to optional projects. They should be directed to fixing the buildings where children and educators spend their days. We also want that the county create an emergency contingency mechanism on the public record so that we have a clear documented process for what happens when a school becomes unsafe, whether it be due to heat or air quality or mechanical failure or structural risk. Right now, no such mechanism exists. Schools are literally left to improvise, relying on donated fans and bottled water while waiting literal years for relief. This is not a question of resilience. This is a question of exposure. Deferred maintenance is not.
Okay, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from Patrick Mooney, followed by Councilwoman Deb Young.
Hi, thank you, and thank you for allowing me to take the place of Nicholas Redding with Preservation Maryland. My name is Patrick Mooney. I'm the Chief Development Officer with the statewide historic preservation nonprofit, and I'm here tonight to ask that both the County Council and County Executive Calvin Ball continue to add additional capital dollars to support the reactivation of the greater historic courthouse complex in Ellicott City, which includes the 18th century historic and vacant jail. Preservation Maryland has been working with the county for the last few years to rehabilitate and restore the jail into a vibrant community anchor, a research and education center with the University of Maryland School of Architecture, Planning, and Preservation, and turn it also into the statewide historic preservation nonprofit's new headquarters, which are currently located in Baltimore City. The organization is asking for these additional capital dollars to go into the greater courthouse complex rehabilitation effort to support vital site work and infrastructure improvements to ensure that the jail can become a beacon of heritage excellence in the National Historic District in accordance with the Ellicott City Watershed Master Plan adopted in 2021. These funds will help augment the already over $4 million that the Preservation Maryland has raised in both state, private, and public dollars at the federal level as well. This significant increase in funds to the greater complex will allow the county to continue its already started investment and activate this vacant site for the betterment of the historic district and the greater county. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Councilwoman Deb Young, followed by Julianne Dana, Wei Ying Chow, and Dana Soar. Councilwoman Young, are you with us? Councilwoman Young, we have sent you a request to unmute. We just want to accept that, and we will go ahead and hear your testimony.
I think I got it.
Yes, you do.
Thank you, Safa. I would like to ask for full funding for HCPS's FY 2027 capital budget request, which focuses on alleviating overcrowding in key areas of the county and addressing systemic repairs needed to keep the aging buildings fully functional and healthy for students. As a member of the HB 1450 task force, I worked to identify HCPSS's long-term capital needs, the gap in funding, and new sources of funds for closing the gap. While I recognize that there continues to be financial uncertainty from federal actions, our county continues to experience strong and stable revenue growth, and prioritizing capital school funding is an investment for our county's economic growth. As recommended in the HB 1450 report and addendum, new revenue sources for additional school capital funding include annual pay-go. Additionally, interest income has recently become a significant source of funds and should be used to supplement the $50 to $60 million in flat funding that has been proposed by the administration annually for school capital projects. Furthermore, I am especially concerned that new non-essential county projects are being prioritized over essential maintenance of existing school buildings. TIF revenue was envisioned in the Downtown Columbia MOU and planning documents to be used for the capital needs of a school serving downtown Columbia. Yet the TIF fund balance will soon be depleted with the appropriation of TIF revenue towards the construction and operation of Toby's Dinner Theater, a mostly private entity using public funds. HCPSS is not receiving the proportional amount of funding it deserves for its size and its scope. HCPSS is Howard County's largest employer. It owns and maintains more facilities than the county. It serves more residents on a regular basis than any other entity in the county. It deserves to be funded at a proportional level. I would like to also ask that HCPSS's operating budget request is funded. The cost of implementing Blueprint is unmanageable for school systems throughout the state, and unless fully funded, HCPSS will have to make more cuts to existing services in order to meet unfunded mandates. HCPSS has already made major cuts to staffing and reoriented spending to shift away from the existing services that earned our school system the reputation for being one of the strongest in the states. For FY27, there are no more extras to cut. We will see major reductions in services, resulting in more teacher burnout and less overall student achievement. Please fund HCPSS's operating and capital budgets as an investment in our future and our teachers, our students, and the prosperity of our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Julianne Dana, followed by Wei Ying Chow, Dana Soar, and Lisa McGovern.
Hi there. My name is Julie Dana, and I'm here once again to advocate for and request funding for a safer Frederick Road corridor. We've had a lot of great progress here on Frederick Road, continuing the sidewalk on the western end of Frederick Road, but we need help here still at St. John's Lane. Continuing the sidewalk on the south side of St. John's Lane and including 2 crosswalks and intersection modifications at Frederick Road and St. John's Lane so that our neighborhood is able to safely walk to businesses in that area. Often I see neighbors who are crossing the street here even without safety additions. There's no sidewalks, and they're doing it anyway. Teens, young middle schoolers are visiting for Slurpees, Rita's treats, and more, and risking an intersection that's very wide and has some really tough hills that are often not very visible. We've seen a lot of continued work on the west end of Frederick, which is definitely needed, but we need to address the gap around St. John's Lane, which has some sidewalks already to create connections to Route 40, as well as other pathways. Continued investment along historic Frederick Road and budgeting for the Department of Public Works to fund policy changes and improvements for this area is greatly needed. Unlike many of my neighbors, I've only lived in Dunlogan for a few years, but I hope that by the time my little ones are teens, we'll be able to walk to Midnight Madness, Sprouts, Rita's, and more very safely. I thank you for your time, and a huge thank you again to Chris Singleton for answering endless questions and emails and working with our community. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Wei Ying Chow, followed by Dana Soar, Lisa McGovern, Jay Chang, and David Wu.
Wayne Chow is not here, but Dana Soar is.
Okay, next we'll hear from Dana.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello, Dr. Ball and members of your team. My name is Dana Soar, and I serve on the steering committee of the Housing Affordability Coalition. I'm filling in this evening for Jackie Ang, who sends her regards. As you prepare your FY27 budget, the coalition respectfully asks that you prioritize the following appropriations. First, the county should not allow and can't afford further delays in the development of county-required affordable housing. With the County Council's passage of CB 69 and CR 233 in November, your administration now has the authority to move forward with the design phase for the new central library, to negotiate necessary agreements with Howard Research and Development, and to complete the Meriwether land transfer. Taken together, these steps will ultimately enable the development of more than 300 critically needed affordable homes in downtown Columbia. The coalition strongly supports full appropriation of the FY27 funding necessary to advance all components of the Central Library project. We also urge that next year's budget include any required planning funds to support final siting and related decisions for the Banneker and North Columbia fire stations, so that these projects can proceed on their current timelines. Second, the coalition applauds the FY26 general revenue funding for some of the Division of Homeless Services positions that were shifted in the previous year from DCRS to DHCD. We urge that your FY27 budget include the remaining 5 positions to ensure that DHCD's programmatic revenues will not be further diverted for the department's administrative expenses. Third, consistent with the coalition's requests over the past several years and consistent with the county's continuing need for tens of thousands of additional affordable homes, we ask that $10 million be appropriated in FY27 for the Housing Opportunities Trust Fund. Half of these funds would ensure the continuation of programs already launched through the trust. The absence of a sustainable revenue source has continued to undermine the Trust's core purpose, the creation of new affordable homes for our community. An additional $5 million would provide at least limited capacity for new project assistance, such as gap financing, and would help offset GHCD's stagnant revenues, which are projected to decline further, even as demand continues to grow for new and rehabilitated housing, homeownership assistance, and rental subsidy programs for vulnerable populations such as seniors and students. And finally, the Coalition appreciates the opportunity to acknowledge the real concern and uncertainty that currently permeate government and nonprofit decision-making. Federal funding that flows through the state and supports housing development and housing stability programs is clearly at risk. At the same time, the state's ability to respond is constrained by both a significant budget deficit and a stagnant revenue base. These federal and state pressures already affect Howard County's capacity to sustain critical programs. While it's impossible to predict specific actions by the current administration in Washington, recent experience has shown that impacts can be swift and disruptive. To help prepare for actions that would negatively impact our community's residents and the nonprofit organizations that the county government relies upon to serve residents, the Coalition suggests creating a substantive emergency contingency fund. This fund would help assure a quick response to direct threats to the economic stability of our community's residents, whether the response takes the form of food security, eviction prevention, and other housing assistance, and health assistance. Dr. Ball, throughout your nearly 8 years as county executive, you have consistently advocated for and acted on behalf of the most vulnerable members of our community. We hope this testimony aligns with your vision for sustaining economic and housing stability for all county residents. Thank you for your time this evening, and thank you and your team for your service to our community.
Thank you so much for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Lisa McGovern, followed by Jean Zhu on behalf of Jay Chang and David Wu.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa McGovern. I'm a Howard County resident, a 2008 HCPSS graduate, and the parent of a first grader at Tridelphia Ridge and a pre-K student. This is my first time ever testifying. I'm not someone who regularly shows up at these types of meetings, but I'm here tonight because I recognize our schools are frankly in crisis, and it feels imperative to speak up. My family moved back to Howard County like countless others because we believed in the promise of exceptional public schools. We envisioned our children growing up in classrooms that were safe, well-maintained, well-staffed, and full of opportunity. We pictured learning spaces throughout the county, like I experienced growing up, that inspire curiosity and not outdated HVAC systems, gyms with no AC, overcrowded hallways, classes in trailers, or playgrounds and buildings that show years and years of deferred maintenance. But that's not what many families are experiencing today. We're hearing about crumbling infrastructure in too many schools, roofs long overdue for replacement, heating and cooling systems that fail, buildings without correct safety features, and classrooms that simply weren't designed for the number of students now inside them. These conditions aren't just inconvenient, they disrupt learning and undermine the promise Howard County built its reputation on. And the operating pressures are just as serious. Our teachers and staff are doing heroic work, but they're doing it in environments stretched beyond what's sustainable. Larger class sizes, insufficient resources, and growing demands on student support services. These challenges compound when facilities are aging and needs continue to outpace funding. Families feel it, teachers feel it, students feel it most of all. I'm here for the long haul as my children are just starting their journey in HCPSS, but I'm deeply worried about the direction we're heading. Families like mine don't move here for good enough. We move here for excellence, and excellence requires investment. So tonight I'm asking you to increase recurring funding for our public schools and to make school infrastructure and operating stability a priority in this year's budget. Our children deserve safe, modern, functional buildings. Our teachers deserve the tools and conditions to do their jobs well, and our community deserves a school system that reflects the values that we take pride in as residents of Howard County. Please take this moment seriously. Let's act before deferred maintenance becomes permanent decline, before class sizes grow further, and before more families begin to lose trust in a system that once set the standards
for the entire state and arguably the country. Thank you for the time and for listening. I appreciate the work you do, and I hope you will join parents like me in fighting for the schools that brought us here and our children depend on.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Jean Zhu, followed by David Wu, Lan Zhu, Daljit Soni, and Megan Royden. Jean, are you with us? Jean, we have you as unmuted. We can't hear you. You sound very far away. Jean?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you close to your mic?
How about now?
A little bit better, but you might want to move a little bit closer.
Well, that is what it is. He said that they are very screwed up. Yes.
Jean?
How about now? How about now?
Jean, are you there?
I am here. Yeah, not yet. You will.
Okay, Jean, you want to go ahead and try talking so we can make sure we can hear you?
Just give me the comment. That's a softball. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Jean, you want to just go ahead and start your testimony? Jean, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, you want to go ahead and start your testimony?
Testimony.
Jean, we're going to circle back to you while we figure out your tech. So just message our tech team and they will help make sure that we can hear you. So we'll circle back to you, but we will go to David Wu next.
So we need to get in touch with Rita's calling.
Dear County Executive Officer Dr. Ball and all others here in this evening. In this meeting. Good evening. My name is David, a junior at River Hill High School, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak here today. I'm here to echo Maryland State Delegate Dr. Chow Wu's proposed Howard County Bill 10-26, which establishes a minimum funding required for the Howard County Board of Education. The Howard County Public School System is the cornerstone to our community, serving education for tens of thousands of students. Its current budget supports essential services such as instructional materials, transportation, counseling, and other services, allowing for our schools to function properly. While the county did meet the maintenance of effort requirement in recent years, budgeting has not always been aligned to the county's requested funding levels defined by their operational needs. And consequently, schools have been faced with difficult trade-offs within critical programs and services. And one example of said trade-offs is the proposed cuts to elementary gifted and talented programs. Despite some restorations being initiated, ongoing reductions in teacher staffing and other services still are present for these programs, underscoring the broader issue of financial instability. These persisting challenges affected class sizes, student support, course offerings, and more. By ensuring that the Howard County Council does not approve school budgets below a proposed minimum level, Bill 10-26 can guarantee stable and sufficient funding to support our community as a whole. It would also allow our school system to plan responsibly, retain staff, along with maintaining programs that satisfy the diverse needs of students. I humbly urge everyone to join my support for this bill Passing this legislation demonstrates a genuine commitment to our children, teachers, and our future. It would ensure our schools have the resources necessary to serve our county successfully, taking new opportunities and greater success for generations to come. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for your testimony.
Okay, we're going to circle back to Jean Ju. Jean, are you with us?
Can you hear me?
We can barely hear you.
Here. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Why don't you try giving your testimony? I'll let you know if we lose you.
I'm here tonight to represent his Papa formerly known as the Chinese American Parent Association, and also as a long-time Howard County resident parent. To begin, I want to emphasize the importance of a long-term and integrated planning. However, we must achieve operating the capital budget with two parts of the same strategy. Now, separate conversation. Sustainable growth requires planning, staffing, maintenance, and service delivery alongside the construction and modernization of public facilities. When these plans are aligned, we protect public dollars, maintain service quality in a plan have rather than react to crisis. That kind of planning depends on accurate revenue assumption. For several years,
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Lan Lan Zhu, followed by Daljit Soni and Megan Royden. Lan Lan, are you with us? Lan Lan, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. Good evening, County Executive Dr. Ball. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Lan Lan Xu, and I speak as a parent, a community advocate, and someone deeply committed to the future of Howard County's public schools. Our students and communities are hurting. We have seen school quality declining, teaching positions and programs cut, and a growing list of facilities in need of serious repair. The gaps in our operating and capital budgets continue to widen, and the strain shows up in classrooms across the county every day. I recognize that the county is facing real financial constraints and competing priorities, and I appreciate the complexity of your decisions. And that is exactly why we must improve how we plan and fund education. Currently, there's no formal process for collaboration between HCPSS and the county to make annual budgeting discussions more productive and efficient. This structure creates uncertainty for both the county and the school system and contributes to reactive decision-making and recurring anxieties for families, educators, and communities. Tonight, I respectfully urge you to consider the following. First, increase funding for HCPS's operating budget, so the system is not yet again forced to increase class sizes, cut teaching positions, or eliminate programs essential to student learning and well-being. Second, increase the level of PAYGO funding directed to HCPS's capital needs. Deferred maintenance is growing faster and faster. Nearly 80% of our schools have been identified by the state as needing repairs, and 20 schools, that's 1 in 4, are deemed functionally unreliable. The longer we wait, the more expensive it becomes. We must stop the bleeding first. And third, I urge the county, HCPSS, and the state to establish a joint multi-year budgeting framework. A coordinated process would allow all parties to share assumptions early, anticipate pressures, and make responsible long-term decisions. It will bring transparency, predictability, and stability. The choices made in this budget will shape our school system for years to come. I urge you to make the investments needed now while embracing joint multi-year planning to strengthen collaboration for the long-term benefits of our community. Thank you for your leadership, and thank you for your commitment to Howard County's children.
Thank you for your testimony, Dr. Xie.
Next, we'll hear from Daljit Soni, followed by Megan Royden and Ryan Powers.
Daljit is not here, but Megan Royden is.
Okay, Megan, we'll hear from you, followed by Ryan Powers, James Sanders, and Kat Carter.
Hi, thank you very much. Good evening, County Executive Ball and team. My name is Megan Royden, and I'm the president of AFSCME Local 6359, Maryland Library Workers United. We represent the dedicated workers of public library systems throughout the state, including at Howard County Library System, where I personally work at the Miller branch as an instructor and research specialist. I'm here tonight to urge you to fully fund the library's budget request. In particular, I want to highlight the portion of it dedicated to raises for those library workers in our bargaining unit, in accordance with our collective bargaining agreement, which provides for a 4% COLA increase and a 3% step increase for eligible staff in fiscal year 27. Per the most recent Library Board of Trustees meeting, that 7% raise for our bargaining unit comes out to $834,700.63. We do, however, have an arbitration pending between the union and the library on the subject of wage increases for fiscal year 26, so that number may change once we have a decision back. These raises were the subject of much of our initial contract negotiations and are fair and meaningful raises for the library staff who keep our libraries running every day. After all, libraries don't run themselves. They run because skilled, committed, hardworking people show up every day in order to help serve the public, whether it's finding the materials they need and checking them out, helping them with computers and other technology, or teaching classes to customers of all ages, from infants to adults. We make sure the doors are open, the computers work, the collection is organized and accessible, and the community is supported. But the truth is that library work has never been harder than it is right now. Every day, our members help the public apply for jobs, access unemployment benefits, navigate government forms, find assistance for food and housing, and simply find a safe and welcoming place where they can just be. Libraries are one of the few public spaces left where people can just come and exist with no obligations. At the same time, our members are feeling the same economic pressures as everyone else. Prices are going up everywhere: housing costs, groceries, utilities, childcare, transportation. The worst part is that despite having a signed union contract in May of this year, our members have still not seen a single cent in the negotiated raises that should have gone into effect as of July 1st, 2025. Instead, we've been in a protracted arbitration with library management as they claim they did not get sufficient funding from the county to cover these raises, and that the county executive had rejected our bargaining unit's wage increases, even though library management had sufficient funding money to give themselves their full raises for this year. It's been almost 6 months now that our members have been without their negotiated and agreed upon wage increases. And while that's hard at any time, this has been a particularly brutal moment. As I'm sure you know very well, many of those who live in our county work or worked for the federal government, and between the layoffs and the shutdowns, that's been a lot of lost income that's hit our community. So many of our members rely on partners or other family members who have federal jobs, and the past few months have been devastating for them. Members have been unable to pay bills, save for their futures, or get much-needed surgeries. It's vital that our raises be funded for fiscal year 27 so that this does not happen again. Our members are professionals and are committed to serving the public. During times of crisis, libraries are often the last resort for community members who have no one else to turn to for help, and we step up to meet that need. We manage increased demand with limited resources. We de-escalate tense situations. We provide accurate information in an age of misinformation, and we do it all with patience, empathy, and kindness. But dedication does not pay rent. Passion does not cover medical bills. Pride in public service does not replace a living wage. A fair wage increase goes beyond just the individual library worker. It sustains the quality and reliability of public services that our county depends on. When you invest in our library workers, you invest in our community. There are no easy choices when it comes to the county's budget, but the choices that are made reflect the county's priorities, and supporting the people who serve our community every day should be a top priority. On behalf of our members, I urge you to approve a budget that includes meaningful raises for library workers. Show them that their hard work matters and that Howard County understands that public services are only as strong as the people who provide them. Thank you very much for your time, your consideration, and for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you so much for your testimony. And just to be clear, neither I or anyone in my administration have any role in the negotiated agreements with the library system. So I'm sorry if somehow there was some misunderstanding, but we have zero role on those contracts.
Next, we'll hear from Ryan Powers, followed by Jane Sanders and Kat Carter. Mr. Powers, are you here with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Good evening, County Executive Ball. My name is Ryan Powers from Glenwood, and I'm representing the Howard County Citizens Association. We'd like to thank you and your staff for listening to residents' needs and concerns tonight, especially with their help during today's technical difficulties. I personally increasingly wonder why we can't testify in person. HCCA also appreciates the outreach this fall, asking us and other community groups about action items we'd like to see from your administration. We'd like to especially thank Paul Thompson. We continue to believe that open town halls are important. Without meaningful back and forth, residents are left out of the decision-making process and kept in the dark. This public hearing on the budget is one of only 2 public hearings residents will be given to express their concerns and needs to you. We don't think this is enough to truly understand something as big as the budget. We are hoping you'll follow the lead of other county executives and begin to hold town hall meetings in all districts in which there is actually a back and forth about the budget. For example, what would it take for the sheriff's office to reach their goal of serving 80% of domestic violence or protection orders within 48 hours? This has been part of the budget for the past few years and is one of the only goals Howard County doesn't meet. It is a very admirable goal. We are unclear what's holding them back. We need a frank community discussion early in this process about whether or not the Howard County school system will face a 3rd year, 3 years in a row, of staff reductions, program cuts, and increases in class sizes. We want to recognize that your emergency bill providing $14.5 million in needed funding for the FY26 school year saved this year from being a disaster. But 3rd grade strings was still cut. Close to half of the elementary school gifted and talented teacher positions are gone, and many para-educators, secretaries, and media specialists were fired, resulting in less adults in school buildings. I personally would like to echo the sentiment of Laura. This feels like the Titanic with absolutely no course correction. A town hall is needed because parents, HCPSS, and students continue to have many questions. Do you intend to fund the HCPSS capital budget at $90.1 million in local funding? Do you intend to add $40 million in additional GO bonds that was planned for this year in the FY26 budget? Will you work with the council to provide nearly $38 million in pay-go for school deferred maintenance, in addition to the $90 million already planned for? Why is the fund balance for school impact fees reaching $37.8 million instead of being spent on schools? All this money should be directed to the school system to improve infrastructure. There are 20 schools rated functions unreliable, according to the Interagency Commission on School Construction. Our kids deserve better than leaking roofs, crowded hallways, rodents, mold, broken pipes, broken ceiling tiles, intemperate rooms, students without functioning cafeterias, non-functional bathrooms, and schools lacking safety features. A town hall where you can look at residents in the face and provide some sort of answers would go a long way of understanding the fiscal reality in Howard County. Councilmember Riggedy called for just this sort of a conversation last year after another partially fulfilled school budget. It's time we begin to talk with one another instead of talking at each other. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from James Sanders, followed by Kat Carter, and then we will return to Jean Zhu. James Sanders, are you there? Mr. Sanders, we have sent a request to unmute.
Okay, can I be heard?
Yes, you can.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, so I'm Jim Sanders. I'm a professor of social entrepreneurship at the University of Maryland College Park Business School, and I'm happy to offer my comments. So I've lived in Columbia for 48 years. I am focused on longevity. I plan to live to 104 to meet or exceed my mom's longevity. So I've spent the last 15 years analyzing and proposing improvements to Howard County that will support healthy and active longevity. So this has involved very deep engagement, assessment, and leadership in age-friendly, affordable housing, the hospital age-friendly, the AHEAD program planning, the village movement, the community foundation, as well as the state Longevity Ready Maryland. So my conclusion with all that assessment and leadership is that we're at a tipping point in our ability to support longevity. The healthcare, aging services, and housing programs we depend on are increasingly marginalized because of budget and collaboration issues, and they're struggling with unclear funding and policies. So silos continue despite the evidence that longevity is impacted both by social determinants of health and by the integration required to follow the life cycle of aging. So these are systems problems. So the following are suggested improvements based on my experience leading strategy for several large corporations. The suggestion also builds on subject matter expertise as a faculty member at both the University of Maryland and Carey Hopkins Business School, where I teach social entrepreneurship and the business of health. So the fundamental problem is a systems problem, is looking at the impact of one silo across the continuum of other silos. So the recommendation here is to create a multi-sector plan where we look at the problems as integrated problems that relate to each other. So multi-sector plans are very common at the state and are now increasingly at the county level as well. So the multi-sector plans have the advantage that they are a strategic long-term look, and they look at all of the resources and capabilities, government, nonprofits, community members, and all the resources of the community. So the benefit is better coordination, reduction of the same things, enhanced equity, and a more resilient system. So the good news is that the Longevity Ready Maryland Plan has just finished its assessments and has a plan is now implementing. So we have a system to connect to that's already affecting us. So that the state program will focus on improvement in housing, about aging services. But again, there are budget issues, and there's the unknown about the impact of the AHEAD program, and there's unknown about the impact of the follow-up to the Old Age Act that is one of the primary funders of our aging programs. So the good news is the provider forum recently started is a good start. However, the next step of the provider forum is to engage patients, community members, the aging community, some of the key beneficiaries of any improvements in a coordinated aging plan. So I'd be happy to talk later about specific proposals about ER wait time and about housing that matches the life cycle of aging. Again, we do housing plans assuming a unit is a unit, but of course there's a whole range of how a housing unit changes over time, and there's questions about what all of are the other living situations behind our traditional house. So I would be happy to talk about ER wait time, housing that match the life cycle of aging, and about reinventing the volunteer center to engage the skills and expertise of the senior population. Thank you for the opportunity to offer my suggestions, and thank you for being here.
And thank you for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Kat Carter, followed by Jean Zhu and Brian Clark.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Kat Carter. I am the president of the PTA Council of Howard County, representing more than 10,000 parents, caregivers, educators, and community members across our public school system. I want to speak plainly about a reality our families and schools are living every day. While budget totals may appear to increase, inflation has significantly reduced the real value of those investments. At the same time, the costs of staffing, benefits, transportation, and building maintenance continue to rise. Over the past 2 budget cycles, HCPSS has lost approximately 100 student-facing staff positions each year. These are not abstract numbers. These cuts show up as larger class sizes, fewer supports, and fewer adults available to meet students' needs, especially at a time when those needs are increasing. Howard County is responsible for maintaining nearly 80 school buildings, many of which are aging beyond their design lifespans. Deferred maintenance has grown to roughly $200 million, including about $100 million in roofs and HVAC systems alone. These failures don't just require repairs, they disrupt learning. Classrooms are closed, shared spaces become unusable. Mold remediation consumes funds without addressing root causes. IEQ reports tell a consistent story. Schools are operating under strain, and in some cases, one major system failure away from complete dysfunction. The recent public debate over which building is most broken should not be dismissed. This is a signal of systematic distress driven by long-term underfunding of maintenance. Meanwhile, budget decisions matter. In FY25, income tax revenue was underestimated by approximately $50 million, nearly a 9% gap. Had even a portion of that revenue been incorporated into the operating budget and staff reductions and increased class sizes could have been avoided. At the same time, HCPSS is being asked to do more under the blueprint for Maryland's future, expanding pre-K, supporting special education, addressing transportation costs, and retaining educators, while inflation continues to drive costs higher and federal funding faces uncertainty. Howard County has the resources to meet this moment. We have done so before. In the late 2000s, during far more severe economic conditions, this county made difficult decisions to protect public education. The scale of recent county cost-saving measures do not compare to the impact of 100 student-facing positions lost in a single year. On behalf of the PTA Council of Howard County, we respectfully and clearly ask that you fully fund the $90.1 million HCPSS capital budget request, commit an additional $30 million to begin closing the gap in school facility and capacity needs, clearly explain how the $27 million in school surcharges is being used to address capacity challenges, and formally request state funding through Build to Learn Act 2. These requests are grounded in data, lived experience, and the responsibility we all share. Our community expects responsible stewardship of taxpayer dollars and a sustained commitment to maintain safe, healthy, and functional school buildings. These decisions will not only shape classrooms today, they will define the long-term strength and credibility of Howard County. We look forward to your leadership and partnership in meeting these obligations to our students, families, and educators. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Jean Zhu, followed by Brian Clark, Adel Ahmed, and Anthony DeBella. Jean, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Great. Good evening. My name is Jing Xu. I'm here tonight representing CAPA Chinese American Participation and Action, formerly known as the Chinese American Parent Association, and also as a longtime Howard County resident, parent, school advocate, and community volunteer. To begin, I want to emphasize the importance of a long-term and integrated planning. Howard County must treat the operating and the capital budgets as two parts of the same strategy, not separate conversations. Sustainable growth requires planning for staffing, maintenance, and service delivery, alongside the construction and modernization of public facilities. When these plans are aligned, we protect the public dollars, maintain service quality, and plan ahead rather than reacting to crisis. That kind of planning depends on accurate revenue assumptions. For several years, the county has consistently underestimated revenue, making the budget appear more constrained than it ultimately is. Overly conservative projections can lead to unnecessary cuts and delayed investments in essential services. At the same time, the county holds nearly $200 million in paygo in fiscal year 2025 and nearly $100 million in fiscal year 2026. Substantial public resources. At a time of budget pressures, deferred maintenance, and growing needs, these funds should be strategically directed towards vital services and critical infrastructure, including but not limited to our schools. We must fully fund our school system's operating budget. Over the past 2 years, Howard County has cut or left unfilled hundreds of teaching and staff positions. Every one of those losses is felt directly by students. Teachers are covering classes during their planning periods. Special education teams and paraeducators carry overwhelming caseloads, and counselors, psychologists, and support staff are stretched thinner every year. When school operating budgets are not fully funded, students lost individualized attention, learning gaps widen, and educator burnout accelerates. That is not the standard Howard County should accept. But staffing alone is not enough if our facilities are failing. The county must confront nearly $200 million in deferred maintenance in our schools because it directly affects health, safety, and learning. Outdated ventilation system, failing HVAC units, leaking roofs, and unreliable power disrupt classrooms and affect air quality, temperature control, and overall physical health. When classrooms are repeatedly disrupted by facility failures, teaching and learning suffer. Deferred maintenance is not simply a facility problem. It's a public health and student well-being issue. Delaying these investments only increases long-term costs and sends the wrong message. Learning environments are not negotiable. This brings me to long overdue capital projects. In communities such as Elk Ridge, Residents have waited decades for needed investment, including the long-promised new high school. Growth has outpaced infrastructure, leaving families with overcrowded classrooms, longer commutes, inadequate road conditions, and insufficient public facilities. Core public infrastructure, including schools, roads, water, and sewer system, must be planned, built, and funded in alignment with population growth. Responsible development requires responsible and timely investment. Taken together, these choices define what kind of county we want to be. I urge you to pass a budget that reflects our values and meets this moment with courage, accuracy, and clarity. Thank you for your time and consideration. Happy holidays.
Thank you for your testimony, and a happy holidays to you too.
Next, we'll hear from Brian Clark, followed by Adil Ahmed, Anthony DeBella, and Nana Awusu Nakwanta Bisa. Okay. Next, we'll hear from Adil Ahmed. Okay, next we'll hear from Anthony DeBella, followed by Nana Awusu Nakwanta Bisa, Michelle Inohosa Melencio.
Good evening. Requesting audio check.
We can hear you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Dr. Ball. I'm Anthony DeBella, longtime HCPSS spouse and parent. I've submitted a couple of data charts that my testimony submission, if you could bring those up. But according to MSDE data, Howard County commits over 2% of our wealth to our public schools each year, higher than any other county in Maryland. As the blueprint for Maryland schools has impacted education spending over the past few years, Associated State Aid has helped some schools outpace Howard County in spending per student. Howard County spending per student was 91st percentile in 2014 and has now fallen to 78th percentile for FY24. Despite our strong commitment to high-quality programs within HCPSS, MSDE has dictated new priorities without providing the funding commensurate to implement them. As funding percentages for HCPSS work their way back to pre-corona levels relative to our recurring general fund revenue, the budget carries the extra weight of these new requirements. Howard County bears 63% of the cost of its public schools, while in aggregate, Maryland counties contribute only 47% of the cost. Returning county funding levels to historic norms won't get our schools where the blueprint demands. Additional financial commitment is necessary. The growth in demands on our public education system outpaces our ability to pay for them, and last year's state budget exacerbated the problem by shifting $7 million in teacher pension costs from the state to the county. The time has come to take our case to Annapolis. This year, leadership in education demands that Howard County stand up for our school system's values of an excellent inclusive education. Our delegation has proposed Local Bill HOCO 1026, which seeks to establish a minimum school funding percentage for our public schools relative to our revenue. That concept requires more details in its definition and more flexibility to your successor. However, it also provides us with an opportunity for dialogue with our delegation. What's good for Ellicott City is also good for Annapolis. Maybe MSDE should also commit to providing a minimum percentage of our public school costs so that you, the County Council, and the Board of Education aren't left to play budget chicken over the last few $1 million. Maybe MSDE should weight state aid based on the percentage of local wealth committed to education rather than just wealth present in the county. Whatever the mechanism turns out to be, a solution is necessary to prevent continued loss of teachers and programs within our schools. Our students need you to stand up for their programs. Don't tell them there's no money for third grade strings. Tell our state delegation there's no money for blueprint mandates that levy an onerous reporting burden on the leanest central office school system operation in the state. Thank you. As a footnote, we've heard a lot about surpluses tonight, and according to the latest monthly financial report, the county budget is $50 million ahead of targets 1/3 of the way through the year. So we could expect more surpluses next year. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Nana Awusu Nakwanta Bisa, followed by Michelle Hinojosa Melencio, James Carantonis, Rosa Horst, and Keith Kalora. Nan,
Thank
are
you.
there?
Good. Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Good evening, Dr. Ball, and good evening, friends of the Howard County Library System. My name is Nanu Owusun Kwantavisa, and I have the privilege of serving as the chair of the Friends and Foundation of the County Library System. On behalf of the Friends, I want to express our immense gratitude and excitement of your tremendous support of the library system and the continuous investment in the library, such as evident in the support for the Central Library at the Lakefront. Howard County families, businesses, and local organizations demonstrate their love and pride in their libraries at the programs and events put together by the library all year long with support from the Friends. This past October, we had the very first adult Battle of the Books in Howard County. 61 book clubs signed up as soon as it was open for signups, and they came together at 2 different locations on 3 separate nights, engaged in competitive fun. They supported local businesses, and whilst raising funds to support good causes such as Project Literacy, the 5th grade Battle of the Books, the Script Spelling Bee, Beyond Words, guest author events, summer reading, high-tech STEAM classes, and many, many more. These are all fantastic and inclusive programs that support every demographic in the county. Investment in public libraries is actually, there's evidence to support that. A 2021 Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago study concluded that increases in library use translate into improved test scores in nearby school districts. It went on to say that $1,000 or greater per student capital investment in local public libraries increases test scores by 2% standard deviations. It is therefore not an accident that Howard County schools rank the highest in Maryland and the nation. The returns to your investment in public libraries are evident in Howard County's high ranking as the best place to live and retire. This is the message that your dedicated support of libraries sends to potential residents. To families, it says your children will have access to world-class educational resources. To businesses, it tells them that this community invests in knowledge and innovation. And to the region, it sends the message that Howard County remains a leader in the quality of life and economic opportunity. The Lakefront Library is an investment in education, economic growth, and the future of the county. Many, many years ahead, that investment is going to continue to bear fruit. I want to thank you for your leadership and commitment to this vision, and thanks for the opportunity.
And thank you for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Michelle Hinojosa Melencio, followed by James Carantonis and Rosa Horst.
Michelle is not here.
Okay, next we'll hear from James Carantonis.
James is not here.
Okay, next we'll hear from Rosa Horst. Okay, following Rosa, we'll hear from Keith Kalora, Rochelle Olandra, and Raj Chaudhry.
Hello, I'm sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Good evening. I'm here to speak to you this evening about the Compass program. The Compass program is a dementia-specific program in Howard County. It currently runs out of the Glenwood Center once a week at the Glenwood 50 Plus Center. Last week, the Office on Aging and Independence decided to end the program as of February 2026. Although they have not communicated this clearly or transparently to participants and their families. The Compass program is led by a trained dementia care practitioner. She uses evidence-based Montessori dementia programming. It is the only program of its kind in our area. It's designed specifically for persons living with dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and memory loss. The program helps individuals remain socially engaged and active in their community. It prevents social isolation, and which studies show can slow cognitive decline. This is important to me because my mother, who is a lifelong Howard County resident in her 70s, has participated in the COMPASS program since it began nearly 2 years ago. She is living with Alzheimer's dementia and, like many older adults, wants to age in place in the community that she helped to build. The COMPASS program gives her and others like her a meaningful way to stay involved in her community. These participants are engaged, thoughtful individuals who still want to contribute and remain useful in their communities and neighborhoods. Many of them have spent their lives in public and civil service, and they are not ready to be sidelined just yet. For families like mine, this program is not just helpful, but it is a lifeline. Unfortunately, our recent experiences with Office on Aging make it clear that their department is not equipped to support or to sustain a specialized therapeutic dementia program. Their lack of transparency is deeply concerning, especially pertaining to such a vulnerable population. Participants and caretakers of the COMPASS program would like the COMPASS program to be allowed to continue, but moved to the Parks and Recreations Department, which we feel would be better positioned to support and grow it as a therapeutic program. COMPASS is a program paid by program participants. It is not county funded, but including it in your budget would be very minimal cost, but would ensure its continuity and continued use of the 50+ center and its potential to hopefully serve more Howard County residents in desperate need of programming. Programming in our area is extremely limited, especially for those living, hoping to age in place. And in 4 short years, 20% of our county will be age over 60 years of age. We are very much behind in planning for this. We are hoping and asking for your help to keep the COMPASS program running so people living with dementia can remain part of their community and not separated from it. And County Executive Ball, we would really love your help on this issue, particularly with the issues that we've been having with Office on Aging. We've brought these issues to your office's attention twice, and we would really love to hear back from you on it. Thank you for your support.
Thank you so much for your testimony. And if you can you just send me what you've previously sent to cball@howardcountymd.gov, cball@howardcountymd.gov.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Keith Kalor, and I'm the current commissioner of the Howard County Scholastic Hockey Association. We're writing you tonight to express our support for the possible plans of a new ice rink facilities that will be built in the county. Our club, as it is currently, represents approximately 140 student athletes from the various high schools around Howard County. Between September and February, our club will typically purchase around 100 sheets of ice in the time slots for the various activities, including games, practices, skill development, etc. The majority of that ice purchased currently, as it stands, is outside of Howard County. There simply isn't enough open ice around the county for when we are setting up, when you factor in both the club hockey, the high school leagues, and also the figure skating clubs as well. For reference, the surrounding counties have the following number of ice sheets at their disposal: Montgomery County 4, Baltimore County 3, Anne Arundel County 3, PG County 7, and Frederick County 2. As it stands now, Howard County currently has only 1 sheet of ice to be able to handle all of the activities that are available. In the past 20 years, also, the scope of the number of players has grown. USA Hockey stats state that in the DMV area, they've gone up from 13,000 athletes to over 22,000 currently. Even more so, the women's hockey programs have been outpacing the men's programs at a nearly 3-to-1 level. Given that growth, I think it should be easy to understand that there is opportunity out there for additional ice hockey rinks and all the activities that go around it. The Howard County Scholastic Hockey Association hopes that you'll consider the plans for the new rink in the upcoming budgets. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Rochelle Olandra, followed by Raj Chaudhary and Scott Monroe.
Rochelle is not here.
Okay, next we'll hear from Raj Chaudhary.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Dr. Ball and team, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk here. I am a current Ellicott City resident. I've lived in Howard County for the better part of 40 years. I'm a business owner in Howard County. I have kids in the public schools, so I'm illustrating this just to talk about how vested I am in the community. My testimony is really around the hockey rink that Keith Kalora had just mentioned as well. But before I get into that, I want to mention just how fascinating this process has been. This is my first opportunity to attend a budget hearing like this. A lot of the discussions around public schools and libraries and visibility into the process have definitely impacted me, and you know, I'm hearing that, and I want to express my support for the different topics and speakers that have come before me tonight. That said, as much as I'm a part of the Howard County community, I'm also a part of a hockey community. I'm a hockey player, I'm a hockey dad, I'm a hockey fan, I'm a hockey coach. Hockey has had a profound impact, obviously, on me and my family. And the one struggle that we have has been, mentioned previously, is that when I go and try to pursue hockey activities, as in one of those roles, I have to go outside of the county typically. We have the one facility at Columbia Ice Rink near Oakland Mills High School. And while I very much enjoy going to that location, it's just not sufficient to be able to support the needs that are out there for me. Again, as a hockey player, I have to go typically down to Laurel to be able to do that. And as a hockey coach, a lot of times we're going to a number of the different facilities that Keith had mentioned out in other counties. So I'm having to take that. I'm having to take extra time to be able to do that. And I'm also having to take all that economic activity basically away from where I want it to be, which is in Howard County, and be able to bring that to other counties. So I recently learned that there is a proposal to consider the building of new ice rinks in the facility, in the county. Certainly within the context of the other priorities that are out there. And Dr. Ball, I don't envy you having to go through and try to allocate the budget between all of these very worthy needs. But to the extent that there is anything that's available for us to consider the building of a new ice rink, I can personally vouch for the impact that it's had on my family. And I would also say I have a role as a head coach of the Howard Lions Club High School hockey team. How I think that having a new ice rink facility with additional sheets of ice would really help to promote getting that diversity in the game, being able to get students and other kids that are not familiar with hockey into playing hockey in much the same way as what we have with other facilities around the county, with like Blandair Park and Centennial Park and things like that, and how we support soccer, lacrosse, field hockey. So I'm just really looking for the same thing for my hockey community. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you, Ms. Monroe. We got your message and your testimony, so thank you for providing your written testimony. Next, we'll hear from Jennifer McClurg, followed by Zach Dickerson and Karen Biederman.
Gotta do.
Jennifer, are you there?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Jen McClurg, and I live in Columbia. I have 2 children in the public school system, and I'm here tonight to ask you to increase the budget and fully fund Howard County Public Schools so they can stop operating in crisis mode and return to offering a premier educational experience. My husband and I are both Maryland natives. He grew up in Montgomery County, and I grew up in Anne Arundel County, and we met at the University of Maryland in Prince George's County. When we began looking for a place to buy a home, we did not look where we grew up or where we met. We looked here in Howard. We didn't come for the parks. We didn't come for the pickleball courts. We didn't come for rock climbing walls. We came here for the schools. We knew we wanted to have a family one day, and we were looking for the best educational opportunities to give our future children. Imagine our dismay over the past few years as school programs have been systematically destroyed, as the schools have been underfunded time and time again. Program after program has been cut. Our class sizes have grown and grown. We have lost gifted and talented teachers. We have lost music teachers. We have lost media paraeducators. We continue to hear week after week at Board of Education meetings that special education is in crisis. And the school system has had to cut not just academic programs, but social programs that allow our children to grow and thrive and become who they are meant to be in this world. Did you know that all 5th and 8th grade transition trips to visit middle schools and high schools have been cut this year? Do you realize that that means students who had their kindergarten year virtually due to COVID will now be denied yet another opportunity to visit a new school building during a critical transition time? Do you know what it's like to have your children's friends move out of the county or be pulled into private schools for a more robust educational experience after yet another round of budget cuts? Do you know what it's like to have your friends in neighboring counties send their children to field trips, outdoor adventures, and overnight experiences only for our kids to have none of that? And despite all of that, my kids are some of the luckier ones in Howard County because their school buildings are not health hazards that are literally crumbling down around them while they try to learn. If you want people to continue to move to Howard County, the school system must take priority in the budget moving forward, both for academic programming and infrastructure needs. The legacy that you leave in the world is how you made it a better place while you had the chance to do something. The way the school system has been defunded year after year is surely not the legacy you hope to leave as county executive. And I implore you to please fully fund the schools. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Zach Dickerson, followed by Karen Biederman and Western Howard County Softball.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Zach Dickerson, and I'm the coordinator for high school track and field for the Howard County Public School System. I'm here to talk about why building an indoor track facility in Howard County would be a smart investment, not just for our high school athletes, but for every resident in our community. Right now, other than the Naval Academy, which does not allow anyone to use its track, there are no banked indoor tracks anywhere in the state of Maryland. This gives Howard County a unique opportunity to become the first. A banked track isn't just a luxury, it's the standard for competitive indoor meets. Because we don't have one, our teams and athletes travel out of the county and our state to compete on tracks that host better competition. For our regular season meets, our county high school teams travel to Prince George's County to compete on their flat track. Each season, we spend thousands of dollars renting that facility and paying for buses, money that leaves Howard County every single year. And that's just to access a basic flat track, not a championship level banked one. If we build this facility here, that money stays local. Even better, teams from across the state and beyond would come to us for meets. Every county in Maryland would line up for the ability to rent time at a bank track if we were to build one. It will be booked every night in the winter months. That means that hotel stays, restaurant visits, local shopping, which turns Howard County into a regional hub for indoor track instead of a county that has to leave home to compete. The benefits extend beyond athletics. An indoor track would be a year-round community resource, supporting walkers, runners, fitness programs, adaptive sports, and seniors looking for a safe, climate-controlled place to stay active. It promotes health, wellness, and accessibility for residents of all ages. For our students, it sends a clear message. Howard County values youth, opportunity, and excellence. It allows our athletes to train and compete at the highest level right here at home. This isn't just about track, it's about smart spending, community health, and long-term economic growth. Building an indoor bank track will position Howard County as a leader and as a destination. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Karen Biederman, followed by Western Howard County Softball, Felipe de Rosier, Karina Fisher, Nathan Birch, and Jennifer Broderick.
Karen. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Karen Biederman. I'm supposed to have 5 minutes, I believe, because I'm representing a PTA.
Yep, we are adjusting that now.
Sorry about that. Okay, thank you very much. Hi, good evening, County Executive Ball and team. I'm Karen Biederman with the Dunlogan Middle School PTA. I want to express my dire concerns of the lack of funding for the HCPSS capital improvement funding. It was recently quoted that there is $198 million of deferred maintenance needs for the school system and $600 million of deferred projects, renovations and new builds, quoted by Cornell Brown. So this totals $798 million of HCPSS capital needs. Funding capital improvement for the school system has become a very desperate need for this county. Construction costs affected by COVID and tariffs have increased capital improvement costs by 50 to 60% in the last 5 years, per Dan Lubley, and yet our funding remains relatively flat year after year. Projects are being added to the fix-it list faster than they are being fixed. Our school system is going backwards in capital improvement. There is only enough local funding to fund one school project a year, and there are 78 schools. These are not good odds. Even though we had built to learn to fund a second project this year, it is still not enough. HCPSS has 238 portables, an extreme safety risk as students are walking in and out of the back doors before and after schools and in each class change. I did the math. The back door of schools are being opened 114,000 times a day. 114,000 times a day. This puts our schools in an extreme shooter risk category. Beyond the portables, schools are facing mold, unsecured vestibules, minimal natural light, outdated AV systems, HVAC boilers, roofs that have passed their useful life. I would like to point out that Centennial High School has porta potties at their stadium level, which is not inclusive for our kids receiving cancer treatment and our kids with organ transplantation, as these kids have immunosuppression and cannot use these porta potties. Centennial High School's HVAC burst on March 31st. It was not replaced, it was patched. They also have rotting trailers. Trailers are supposed to be temporary, and they've been there so long that they are rotting. Meanwhile, 45% of our schools are over 50 years old. Howard County has an average Maryland Facility Index score by the IAC, Interagency Commission on School Construction, of 0.51. Anything above 0.6 means your building is functioning unreliably. So our schools are aging quickly with no relief in sight. Supporting the capital improvement needs benefits everyone in the county, as the schools are an economic engine and the #1 attraction for the county. Our per pupil spending has decreased $1,000 in the last 15 years as costs have only been rising. We also have major operating budget needs too, as teachers are managing 34 students in a class, which is not conducive to learning. GT, CEUs, and nursing assistants and third grade strings have been stripped away from the elementary schools. So my 3 big asks are, please follow the recommendations of HB 1450 and use 50% of the county's PAYGO funds toward the school system, so the schools don't have to be pitted against one another on which school is in worse condition. Number 2, please ask the state for Howard County to retain more funding for our county, as revenue sharing with other counties have become imbalanced. Number 3, please encourage the state to develop a second version of Built to Learn to further support our capital improvement needs. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope everyone has a happy holiday.
Thank you, and I hope you have a happy holiday also.
Next, we'll hear from Western Howard County Softball, followed by Felipe De Rosier, Karina Fisher, Nathan Birch, and Jennifer Broderick.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all tonight. Dr. Ball, I'm here to advocate for the park systemic improvements. As you probably received, there are many requests in the park program. Several of them are vital to making our county continue to be one of the premier counties in Maryland. This year, under N 3982, one of the projects is one I've been advocating for the last several years. I'm specifically requesting Howard County install no-spill LED field lighting for Western Regional Park softball field. As you're aware, Western Regional Park is one of our premier parks located in the northwestern part of the county. It has 4 grass multi-use fields, 2 turf fields, 4 tennis courts, 2 basketball courts, playgrounds, 4 ball diamonds, and as everybody knows, 8 newly constructed pickleball courts. The light request would be one of the smallest funding requests and impact our county's young female athletes. Specifically, Field 3 is the only dedicated softball field. However, the availability is limited for our female athletes because they do not have lights. This is an issue of opportunity and equity. The county, for all the projects, highlights many of their improvements to our parks. Many of them are needed, many of them are incredible. But this specific one is the only one that would target our female athletes. For example, nearly a dozen lights are located at the new pickleball courts, but no project highlighted by the parks specifically improved the lives of our female athletes. Notably, this project would increase access for our players by allowing them to play later in the evening during fall and spring months. 2, it would provide a safer experience for our players, so they're not in midday sunshine all day during the hot summer months. And as we know, red and orange summer months increase all the time. 3, it would allow Howard County to expand female sports in popularity by hosting premier county events and tournaments. I can't tell you how many times I've left the county to play on fields that have lights in neighboring counties or fields in Virginia or Pennsylvania. And lastly, and I made this point before, it'll provide equity for our female athletes. No more sharing fields, trying to get on baseball fields where baseball players have multiple fields with access to lights. We have hardly any. Again, many of these projects proposed by the Parks Department are needed. Many of them are vital for people to move here and continue to live here. However, this is the only project that specifically improves the lives of female athletes in our county. And 2, it's one of the smallest funding requests on the budget line item. It's 1 field, it's 1 set of lights. So please give our female athletes the same opportunity to play as our male. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all. Hope you all have a nice holiday. And I, again, will echo what a lot of people have said. I don't envy you and the decisions you have to make over the next coming months, but thank you very much for your time and opportunity to testify this evening.
Thank you for your testimony, and I hope you too have a very nice holiday.
Next, we'll hear from Felipe de Rosier, followed by Karina Fisher, Nathan Birch, and Jennifer Broderick.
Is not here.
Okay. Next, we'll hear from Karina Fisher.
Is here request on mute sent.
Karina, are you here?
I think I am now.
Yes, you are.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much. Good evening. My name is Karina Fisher, and I'm here tonight to testify in support of the capital budget ask of $90.1 million for the Howard County public school system. I also want to note that I'm a parent whose child just spent 3 years in the highest capital needs middle school, Dunlogan Middle. I want to thank you for the funding of the renovation of Dunlogan Middle. Many children, teachers, administrators, and staff are looking forward to that long deferred project coming to fruition. We have now entered the highest capital needs high school, which has been identified clearly as Centennial High School. So we have another 4 years in yet another school, but not just another school, the highest capital needs high school. That will be my child's 7-year experience within Howard County public school system, one we did not count on. During the November 20th Board of Education meeting, board member Dr. Lingfen Chen shared the following statement while discussing the financial challenges and difficulty in managing the ever-growing list of maintenance and deferred capital projects. Quote, I want to say, as we have a county, we really need to commit to invest more in the school system. The superintendent and the board can only do so much when the money is given. In 2006, we received $70 million from the county side, and now we receive $67 million. This is the same dollar amount, but with the inflation and everything, it is just so expensive. Since the Hammond High School renovation just a few years ago, the projected construction costs of high school have skyrocketed to $180 million. So when the community hears that the school system has been receiving the exact same dollar of county investment since 2026 as a base level, it's not surprising that we now have 20 school buildings which are functioning at the point of being deemed unreliable. If the HCPSS county capital budget request of $90.1 million is not met, the large capital projects may continue to move forward, which grabs the headlines. But the smaller and equally as crucial projects like a new HVAC unit for Jeffers Hill will not move forward. But my testimony tonight is not just about this year's capital budget ask alone, but the bigger picture. We are at a critical point now where almost a third of our school buildings are failing, and we're wondering what is the plan to move forward. I have a lot more in my testimony. I will send the remaining. So I'm going to skip down to the last paragraph while I'm on the topic of capital budget. I do want to say how absolutely disappointing it has been to witness political interference during the capital budget prioritization for the last 3 years, each and every year. It is stressful enough for those of us who have children entering these buildings each and every day without that added frustration. Those who are participating, please stop. No child is more or less deserving of entering a safe and functioning school building than another. Thank you for the opportunity to testify this evening.
And thank you for your testimony.
Next, we'll hear from Nathan Birch, followed by Jennifer Broderick and Christopher Barnard.
Nathan Birch is not here.
Okay, so next we'll hear from Jennifer Broderick.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello? Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Do I get 5 minutes for Bridges? Yes. Okay, great. First of all, thank you, Dr. Ball, for being at the Homeless Persons Memorial Day service earlier tonight. I know you are very busy, obviously, for being here, and for taking the time to do that is really touching for me. And so I appreciate your commitment to achieving functional zero for our homeless population. Thank you also for the opportunity to testify. As you know, I've been with Bridges to Housing Stability as the executive director located in Columbia for 12 years, and Bridges serves all of Howard County. I'm also a resident of Howard County. We are aware there are many important needs in the county, and I know you're hearing many of them tonight, and not all needs can be fully funded, but I hope you'll consider prioritizing funding for essential services for low-income Howard County households, especially those experiencing homelessness. Bridges is a key agency in the coordinated entry system for homeless services. Bridges provides a majority of the rapid rehousing services in the county, where 100% of families experiencing homelessness in this program have moved into permanent housing, and 94% of all households in this program retain their housing for 2 or more years. This is a higher retention rate than the national average and shows Bridges' dedication and success with this program. I'm here to support level funding for the community service partnership grants. I'd love to say we'd want more, but I'll try not to be greedy. Home funding as well, the Family Home Start program that you know has been very successful, and the Plan to End Homelessness grant funding, as well as consideration for your budget to help the continuum of care with funding to retain our county's permanent supportive housing programs for 70 households with disabilities. The federal funding is uncertain as HUD withdrew the continuum of care NOFO last week, and this puts all of those households at risk of returning to homelessness next year. Moving forward with funding also for affordable housing projects, we support the priorities shared by Dana Soar for the Housing Affordability Coalition as well. Homelessness and housing instability affects people's mental health, job and school performance, relationships, financial stability, and physical health. Once housed, our clients stabilize. They visit the emergency room less often. They are employed in essential jobs in our county in childcare, retail, assisted living, and HCPSS, security personnel, and others that are so important to everyday life in our county. Even with these asks for the Plan to End Homelessness, CSP, Family Home Start, and Continuum of Care funding, this will remain far less than 1% of the county's operating budget and help thousands of county households that are vulnerable. With these funds, Bridges can continue to help those whose housing is lost or in jeopardy. Having stable housing is one of the top indicators of school success and a key determinant of good health for everyone in our community. In the Family Home Start program, which started less than 2 years ago through Your Home Initiative, we have housed over 170 HCPSS students and their families. Bridges also leverages much of the funding we receive with fundraising, other grants, and donation dollars. We do not rely solely on the county funds to run our programs and will continue to raise funds this way. The county's new plan to end homelessness, the Path Toward Zero, was released this year. The number of people experiencing homelessness increased for the first time in 5 years this year in Howard County. Please keep these funds in your FY27 budget. These operational and program funds are essential. Together, we are moving forward and keeping homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring. Many thanks to you for your many years of support and your commitment to serving the needs of the most vulnerable residents in the community. Happy holiday.
Thank you for your thoughtful and considerate testimony, and happy holiday to you too.
Take care.
Next, we'll hear from Christopher Barnard, followed by Young Kim Monroe, Jacob Sanders, Bud Bonato, Becky McCarahan, Philip Santoli, and Wendolyn Jones. If I did not mention your name and you have yet to testify, please put your name in the chat so we can ensure that we get to you.
Dr. Ball.
Yes.
Happy holidays. It's been 6 years since my last or my first fiscal meeting that I attended. And, I was there talking about building a rink. And, we've seen each other throughout the years. And I told you I wasn't going anywhere. So here I am. I appreciate the forum and the 3 minutes. And I heard fellow hockey family members speaking up. Keith Calera, I hear Bud Bonato is coming up next, so very excited for that. The message remains the same. We have Howard County dollars going outside of Howard County consistently. Hockey is a strong, vibrant community that brings not only fellowship, camaraderie, beautiful family environment, but also financial dollars to businesses in the area that are currently being spent in Carroll, PG, Frederick, and Montgomery counties. I was talking with somebody that I grew up with in Howard County recently, and they're taking their kids out to Piney Orchard because that's a program that's supporting them because they have the facility to do so. Calvin, there is so much to be built upon having a flagship type facility in a county like Howard County, right? That garners the type of respect that we have established. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't capitalize on the community and the backing of the sport and the organizations in the area, such as the Howard Huskies and the public high schools, to really capitalize on just a growing financial opportunity with tournaments and events. And look, we've carried this ball long enough. It's time to drop the puck. So I appreciate your time, and we look forward to getting this rink built finally. And again, I'll still be here, and I look forward to seeing you out there on the ice. Thanks, brother.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Always good to hear from you.
Oh, thank you. Next, we'll hear from young Kim Monroe and Jacob Sanders.
Neither are here.
Okay. Next, we'll hear from Bud Bonato, followed by Becky McCarahan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, great. Well, Dr. Ball, good to see you. You may remember, probably about 10, 11 years ago, you actually came to the rink. Two of the teams I was coaching at the time made it to the Nationals, and you gave us a proclamation honoring those teams. So it's been a long time, but it's happened. Just a little bit of background. I've been with the club, with the Howard Huskies, for 33 years. I am now a grandfather, and two of my 6 grandchildren are now in the Mike program there with the Howard Huskies. But over the year, I was the president of the club for 22 years. And now I am I'm the president of the local affiliate of USA Hockey, the Potomac Valley Amateur Hockey Association. So I have a little bit of different perspective now, having served in the club for 33 years. And from a regional level, I've seen, even in Northern Virginia, there's been about 6 rinks go up in the last decade, from the St. James out in Prince William County. They had a new rink built. Locally here, we've seen other rinks go up in other counties. And one of the things, the local club here hosts a Silver Stick tournament. And in that Silver Stick tournament, we use anywhere from 8 to 11 sheets of ice for that. And only one of those sheets is in the county, in our county. It is an opportunity for commerce. We wind up using a rink in Rockville, rink in Frederick. We've used them in Reisterstown. We've used it at the Naval Academy, the Bowie Ice Rink, the Gardens in Laurel. So it's been pretty extensive, where the majority of it is going out of the county. I know others have said that. But one of the things that I think we should look at is what the opportunity for commerce is here in the county. I just recently received an email from USA Hockey, because the 2027 national championships at 8 or 9 different age divisions, girls hockey, youth hockey, are up for bid. We in the county can't do that now. That brings a lot of income, hotel revenue. Businesses thrive from that. And it's just a very good opportunity to be able to bring business to our county rather than sending it out of county. When we have a tournament, we just had a tournament at Thanksgiving here. Majority of the hotels are Montgomery County and Prince George's County. Not here, because we don't have the teams staying in this county. The restaurant business, just the revenue. We're trying to grow youth hockey. We're actually really trying to grow girls hockey. And we are constrained right now in the county here because we just don't have the facility to be able to do that. And we wind up losing players to other counties and other clubs because of that. And I think some of my predecessors in talking had expressed that. I think it's just an opportunity where we're looking to get more facilities here in the county and be able to bring revenue back into the county. The businesses can benefit from it. We did restaurant promotions throughout Silver Stick with restaurants that unfortunately are not in Columbia, around where the rink is, because the rinks where we had the majority of the players were outside of our county. I think from a business standpoint, from a visibility standpoint, we should be able to, we can fill the ice. We just don't have enough ice. With our high schools here also playing outside of the county, we can't get a middle school program going because we just don't have the ice to do that. And the figure skating club, I'm sure, would echo the same thing. It's just so sparse with one rink, and we wind up with kids having to practice at 10 and 11 o'clock at night, which is just not ideal with school schedules and things. So I think whatever I can do to help, if you need to sit down and talk, I'd be glad to do that and give you numbers. But I just appreciate your consideration. And I think the youth of the county, the programs, the high school kids, and, just even the adult league. We don't even have an adult league now in Howard County because we just don't have the ice for it. And that's just another source of revenue. So I just appreciate your time, and thank you very much. I hope everybody has a great holiday.
Thank you very much. And I also hope that you have a great holiday.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
You too.
Next, we'll hear from Becky McCurahan, followed by Philip Santoli and Wendolyn Jones. Okay. While we wait for Becky, if you have not testified and I have not called your name, please put your name in the chat so we can ensure that we get to you.
Good evening. I'm here.
Hello.
Hi. Hi. Good evening, Dr. Ball. My name is Becky McCurahan, and I live at 8725 Cheshire Court in Jessup. I appreciate this opportunity to speak and promise to keep it short, as I know you have many others to hear from. I'm here tonight both as a resident and someone deeply involved in our community through Guilford Park High School, the AFS Exchange Student Program, and now president of the Ridgely's Run Community Center. My heart is in advocating for our neighbors. Our community is grateful for the crosswalk improvements scheduled this month between Heritage Woods and Guilford Park High School. These are meaningful steps towards safer routes for students and families. I'm speaking tonight in support of the funds needed for Project K5040. The county has already invested more than $7 million in the project, including $4.8 million in FY26. The final $1.5 million is all that remains to complete the work. Without it, the project is left unfinished and our community remains at risk. We are thrilled to hear that a traffic light at Guilford and Mission Road was added to this project. The community requested traffic studies. This light is just not a convenience, it's a demonstrated necessity. The signal is essential to protect drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists who use this corridor every day. I respectfully urge you to include the $1.5 million in the new budget. Completing this project will honor the voices of residents and deliver the safety improvements. Thank you, Dr. Ball, and your team. You all have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you all soon.
Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday also.
Next, we'll hear from Philip Santoli, followed by Wendolyn Jones. Okay. Next, we'll hear from Wendolyn Jones, followed by Adil Ahmed.
Hi, this is Wendolyn Jones. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dr. Ball. I'm coming in and speaking as a 20-plus year resident of Ellicott City and former competitive figure skater who is now actively involved with the national program U.S. Figure Skating as a judge and also serve as an advisor to Columbia Figure Skating Club. It's been alluded to and discussed a bit before by our friends, dare I say, on the hockey side, but wanted to encourage you to advance plans around building a new indoor ice rink. As has been asserted previously, there is only one rink within all of Howard County, Columbia Ice Rink, and there is more demand for ice time than that single surface is able to meet. As a result, figure skaters, as well as Columbia Figure Skating Club, are forced to go buy ice at other rinks in Anne Arundel County, as well as in PG County. Not only is it obviously the revenue from the ice time from the rink, but it's also then forcing Howard County residents to spend money at restaurants, grocery stores, and hotels, etc., because they are traveling down to use facilities in other counties. From a participant perspective, the Columbia Figure Skating Club just held its 34th Nutcracker on Ice this past weekend. We had 136 skaters representing over 100 families in that production. And without exaggeration, I'd say 75% of them are traveling outside the county to practice and improve their skating skills. So with that, just wanted to echo what our friends on the hockey side have shared, that there needs to be a commitment, and we love to see it, with another indoor rink going up in Howard County. Happy holidays.
Thank you, and happy holidays to you also.
Last but not least, we'll hear from Adil Ahmed. And if you have not been called and you are here, please put your name in the chat. This is our final call for testimony.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Ball. First off, congratulations on a remarkable 8 years. I hope whoever takes your spot is as engaged as you are in the community. And also thank you to your communications director for pronouncing my name correctly. I don't ever remember that happening in my life, so I appreciate that, and also makes me feel extremely included. So thank you both. So I'm here to represent the Owen Brown Village Community Association. Served on the board for the past couple of years, and I want to speak to two priorities for transportation safety investments. The first is safety as it relates to the expansion of Snowden River Parkway, specifically the intersection of Snowden River and Rustling Leaf. It's right around the bend as you go south from Home Depot on Snowden River, where that expansion is occurring. There's a big community of residents who live by the Hopewell Splash Park, who utilize that entrance and exit as their primary way of getting home and leaving. That intersection is extremely dangerous coming off of Snowden to Rustling Leaf. The lines aren't painted clearly. There's no sense of direction as to who can make a left turn at any given point in time, leading to several near-miss incidents. This has become personal. There are lots of seniors who live in this area who have been in accidents in the past. We have asked for a study to be completed. We've been knocking down the door for Councilwoman Rigby's office and haven't really heard anything back, Mr. Executive, and would really like to hear something. They said that the DPW is conducting a study, but that's been delayed several times. I'm really kind of pleading this time. I moved my parents down to Columbia. They live near me in Hopewell. They use that entrance and exit every time. They're 80 years old, and I'm telling you, I am fearful for them, especially during rush hours at that intersection of Rustling Leaf and Snowden River Parkway. I just want to reiterate, a lot of people utilize that as their main entrance and exit. Some people have talked about closing that off. I think that's a bad idea. There's only one other way to get out of there, and that's by the Starbucks on the other end of Snowden River. Please consider the residents as we invest in transportation safety at that intersection. It is vitally important for the seniors, the kids, folks using the trails. So just want to reiterate, transportation safety investments at the intersection of Snowden River and Rustling Leaf, please. And second, another priority that we listed in the letter on behalf of the Owen Brown Village Community Association is continued investments to traffic calming efforts on Cradle Walk Way. That we've gotten great response from the county there over the years. They haven't broken ground yet. There was a hiccup with a contractor recently, but we're looking forward to a crosswalk being developed there down by the shopping center on Cradle Rock Way. So just want to reiterate our support and gratitude for you guys and being responsive on that. But we would love to see investments in transportation safety at Snowden River and Rustling Leaf south of Oakland Mills. So thank you so much, and look forward to hearing from you and to, honestly wishing you all the best after next year. We appreciate all you do, and again, hope whoever comes after is just as responsive. Thank you.
Thank you for your informative testimony, and thank you to everyone who participated this evening. In a county of nearly 340,000, every time someone helps us understand their issues, their concerns, their needs, the perspective. It helps us in serving you. I also want to thank our PIO and comms team, as well as our tech team, who worked incredibly hard to ensure that we had this forum for you to make your voices heard and to be seen. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of your evening and has a very happy holiday. God bless you all and thank you.